can't forget about you. Baby, baby, can't forget about you. Really, really can't forget about you. Can't forget about you, baby, baby, can't forget about you. Really, really can't forget about you.
Welcome. Mr. Nova, how are you feeling today? What is going on with you?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing today, Mr. Fallen? What's up, brother?
I'm doing just dandy, brother. Oh, man, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Yo, shout out to Freedom, shout out to Shift to Disco Music for being in chat. And everybody in Nova's chat, how you be feeling? How are we doing today?
Yeah, how we feeling, guys? How we living? Welcome back to the Anime Crunch Show, bringing back to you another review of another great series, and it is spooky season. So our man Fallen, the expert in horror and gore, picks out some fantastic anime for us. We just finished up Blood Sea Season 1, a fantastic series available on Hulu and Funimation. Fun fact,
Yes.
Fallen filled me in. Funimation's version, which I didn't really realize until you told me. And I was like, oh, that's why all these black bars are showing up on screen and like shades shades, like
yeah.
covering everything. And then I started watching it on Funimation, and I was truly creeped out. So I think
Yeah,
this
so
show.
if you guys don't know, so Blood C, it's part of the Blood franchise. There is Blood C, and then there's Blood Plus. Blood Plus is your longer franchise. That's around 70 plus episodes, and then Blood C is your shorter one, where it's 12 episodes. They are related. They're like sister animes. They have similar tropes, similar character types. The main characters are both named Saya, but there are different storylines and take place and almost like parallel universes within the same kind of universe, if that makes sense, right?
Which one dropped
Um,
first? It was Blood C, right? And then that spawned
um,
Blood Plus, or was it the other way around?
no, I'm pretty sure Blood Plus came first, and then after Blood Plus, they created Blood C. And actually, if you guys didn't know, the entire anime, the entire Blood C entire anime is actually in movie format too. So if you guys just want to watch a movie, you can actually just watch the whole thing in a movie format called Blood C Last Dark.
I saw
Um,
that being offered online. I wondered what that
yeah.
was, the Blu-ray version. I was like, "What is this?" And I guess it's just a movie, sort of OVA standalone. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just to kind of give you guys an idea, Blood Sea is by far one of the goriest animes that you can run into. It is heavy, very heavy, and the but to give it the justice that it deserves, it does a really incredible job at encapsulating what the gore looks like in anime format, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a very
So
realistic type of gore, right? It's not like
yeah,
disgusting because it's like I mean, it's gory, but it's I don't know how to describe it. Yeah, it's not like overly like it doesn't put it in your face. Like it's happening because it's happening, but it's not the main focus. If that makes sense.
yeah,
Like it's very
yeah.
background, but still gross. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, because it happens like flashes.
Yeah,
Like just
very quickly.
people just get bodied left and right, and you're just like, oh, that
And it
happened.
doesn't
Oh,
focus
that
the bodies
happened.
too much. There's a lot less
Yeah,
detail. I feel like in the gore, there's
yeah,
still detail, right? Like an absurd amount of detail, but they do take away a bit from the main character models just to kind of not be so
yeah. Because
vicious. I think.
so there's other animes similar to like Corpse Party that I think I've mentioned in Nova before, and basically like in that one there is a bunch of gore, and then they hyper focus on it, so
Yeah,
you have to look at
it's
it,
the
and it
main point.
sits there
Yeah,
for a while, right? Versus like this one's just like, holy shit, that was nuts, and then they move on, they go to the next scene real quick. So there is a lot of gore, but the also on top of that, the storyline is actually really I believe well developed. You kind of always have a sense of being uncomfortable when watching this anime. Everything seems just a little too odd, a little too perfect, a
sure.
little too kind
Feels
of like
eerie and off.
situational. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's eerie and off. So to get into it and give you guys a little snippet of what we're talking about, we're gonna go ahead and guys and show you the trailer here. We go ahead and do this real quick. Perfect. All right, I got the trailer up and I'm ready when you are, sir.
Same, brother. Count us off.
In three, two, one, go. Also, I loved the Funimation you should be watching at the beginning of this anime.
Classic Funimation intro. A chilling and new addition.
I do really like that atmospheric narrator voice that like makes you dive deep into the human psyche,
Yep.
right?
The ones above control the ones below. They really give you lots of hints throughout the series, I find, but it's not till later that you're able to connect those hints.
Yeah. I have some people in chat saying Blood Plus was better than Blood C.
I haven't seen Blood
It's
Plus, but being that it's so big, I would like to conquer it one day.
Yeah, it's significantly longer. Blood Sea is the shorter option. The twist at the end is pretty incredible in my opinion. So definitely, if you guys haven't checked it out, please check out the whole Blood franchise. They do an incredible job with what they do. Yo, the big Manchuski out here. How you feeling? What is going on?
Chusky.
Yo, if you guys Yo, if you guys didn't know, Chusky actually absolutely slayed it in the one of the biggest tournaments for Tarkov in Twitch Rivals.
Well
Twitch,
done, mate.
Yeah, dude, he actually killed it in Twitch Rivals, and he's also in the finals for the Evasion tournament. I think it's today, right? So the man's is absolutely slaying it right now. So what is going on, homie? How you feeling? And what is do like, yo? What it do, fam?
What it do? Congratulations, Chizzy. It's good to talk to you again, brother. Good to have you here with us.
So back to Blood Sea, guys. So you guys got a little snippet. There is kind of a lot of fight scenes that you do see between the main character Saya, and these kind of like demon-esque or Oni-esque individuals, right? The scene is set in a specific way. You kind of walk into the anime. You have this narrator who kind of gives you this kind of setting. It gives you like this atmospheric like dive into the human psyche, and they basically are conducting an experiment, right? They want to see how the human psyche develops, and it's a question between nature and nurture in this anime.
That it is. Yep, they've set up that question to see testing an individual to see how this individual is going to turn out. So should we start in categories? Do you want to go through character development? Do you want to go through animation? Should we walk them through the because we've done that before where we kind of just walk
Yeah,
through the plot. And
because
this one's so
I
short.
don't want to completely ruin the twists at the end. So just to kind of give
True.
you guys,
True.
let's talk about how horror animes in this genre are usually formatted, right? So the
Yeah.
format for a lot of horror animes back in the day, this is from back in the mid 2000s, this is 2011 around then. The meta for development in anime then back then is not like your normal kind of usual like writing, right? Where it goes, you have your rising action, your climax, your falling action, and then your outro, right? Instead, the way horror animes function is it's a slow burn, just like a lot of regular horror movie in film, right? It's a very slow burn. It's kind of setting up the atmosphere and the eerie energy that kind of surrounds the situation. You have an idea of what's going on, but you don't really know what is happening because there's some moments where it's just kind of like emptiness or lack thereof knowledge in certain
Right.
things that
They
make
have
you
to like
question
take away your
everything.
comfort before they can really start to freak you out, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So especially what happens in a lot of these horror animes is they build up, they build up, they build up, and you get all these kind of flashes of things that happen. And once they build up, usually the last few episodes are what, boom, explosion, like this
Claps
is
you.
what's actually happening. It's a big reveal, a huge twist that swings in, and you're just like, whoa, holy crap, what just happened? And it all happens so fast that you have to take a moment, sit back, and like really digest what
I
just
feel like
happened in front of
every
you.
horror has that scene where the main character hits the twist and then like their eyes widen and they're just like like shaking in
Yeah,
fear because something insane is like someone they love has been killed or like right in front of them or so.
yeah.
There's always that moment where they're just like I know, yeah. Horror
So
anime. I'm new to it, but I'm enjoying it, especially with Blood Sea.
yeah, so Blood Sea takes place. It focuses on the main character named Saya, same first name as the character in Blood Plus. As I said, sister animes. Saya is this ditzy, very much so nonchalant, happy girl. Like she has a great little life. She's a shrine maiden. Her father is like, I guess he would say he's the priest of
Yeah.
the shrine,
Yeah,
right?
he would be like the head of the priest of the shrine. They play it
Yeah,
off. You said she's ditzy. They play it off so well in the
yeah.
beginning that talk like, "Oh, she's forgetful and she's ditzy." And then like you just assume that's her character until you really start to get into the story.
Into the story, right? You even see in the opening intro, right, where they literally bamboozle you with the opening intro because they make it seem so cute. Like
Yeah.
she's just sweeping the floor and the broom goes flying. She falls to her knees, like, oh damn, I messed up. Like there's just like these little cute moments the entire
Her
time, and it's
singing
like,
on the way to school.
yeah,
My
like on the way
dad,
to
I did the laundry. Like
yeah, like little cute things like that, and it kind of just throws you for a loop. It's like, okay, so this is wholesome, right? With a little bit of action, because they do hit you in the first episode with like a battle
yeah.
where they realize that as a shrine maiden, what her job is to slay these individuals or these creatures. Nova called them Onis, but they're called elder barons in this show. And they are these demon-esque kind of creatures that basically eat humans, right? And her job as a shrine maiden is she uses this shrine blade to slay them each evening to protect the humans of her village. Now, the setting of where she is a secluded village in the middle of nowhere in a valley of mountains, completely separated from any sort of city or any sort of metropolis. It's just like open air, middle of nowhere.
It is
And there's
modern day
only
though. We are of it
yeah,
like
it is
aware of
modern day.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so they are aware of like they're aware of like cities, they're aware of pop culture, but Saya is not. Saya doesn't have a
She
TV in
lives
her
at the
home.
shrine.
Sh
Yeah.
Yeah, she lives in the shrine, so she has no idea what happens outside of her little cute little village, right? So they have the knowledge of the outside world, but they're just kind of chilling in their little village. There's not that many people. Your quote unquote, and you'll understand this later, main cast is
Yeah.
like you have Saya, you have her few friends, No, Nene, which are these cute little twins that talk like in
Itsuki is
unison.
the president of the class, guy with a big
Yeah,
crush on her.
you have like the typical characters of like a shonen, right? You have a guy who has a crush on her. You have the one guy, Tokizane, who's like that apathetic high school student who like shows up to class late or doesn't show up to class. Like you have that typical character types, right? And it's like it's so typical.
Yeah. It's
It's to
tip
a
even
point
in the
where you
sense that
question it.
like the nice guy, not into the nice guy who likes her. She's into the mean guy who pays no attention to her whatsoever. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
So you have those close friends, and then you have like a variety of people in town, and you have like the typical things. You have one bakery, you have one cafe shop. For like a secluded village, it's usually like this way. They have one of almost everything. At least they have supply of something, right? So that's where you're kind of sitting. You're in this little secluded village. You don't really get to see any other students outside of her class, which gives you that sus vibe. It's like, where's everyone else, right?
Yeah, and I
So
think well, firstly, that has to do with the size of the village, right? Because she mentions at one point in the series like Class B or whatever. So I'm like, is there just 2 high school class like, there's Class A and there's Class B, like, those are there's
yeah,
not that many kids in that village, there's probably not that many kids in the same year in high school, so they probably don't even have enough to, like they probably have, like, just the 2 classes that travel back and forth to their different classes together.
right.
But as Fallen was saying with the cast, there really isn't many people she interacts with. She interacts with, her classmates, as we mentioned, which is a handful of students, including her teacher, and then Fumito, who is the owner of a very trendy cafe, the only coffee shop in town,
Yeah,
which
called Guimauve.
Gimov,
Guimauve.
which Saya and her father, who is another character that she interacts with quite frequently, frequent. But between her class, Fumito, and her father, she does not interact very much with the rest of the village.
Yeah, she has her class. She has her teacher, Kanako. And then beyond that, she has, yeah, you don't really see her interacting with a lot of other people, but you notice that whenever she's in scenarios where she has people around her, she's always the center of attention.
Yeah,
Everyone's talking to her, everyone's entertaining her, so she's not like an outcast. She's always the center of attention wherever she goes, which you can tell from normal anime. That's normally what happens with the main
yeah.
character. But sometimes the main character is like the off-put kind of character who sits off to the side.
Right, they
Where
might be
in
in the
situations
background
like
for a
that,
scene someone else is talking, but even when someone else is talking, as Fallen saying, they're basically directly speaking to Saya.
all
Yeah,
the time,
yeah,
all the time. So her normal day to day is doing her shrine maiden duties during the morning, like laundry and whatnot, saying goodbye to her father. Her father goes somewhere during the day. We don't know where he goes at this point in time. And then she usually stops on her way to a school at Fumito's cafe called Guimauve, and she'll have her daily coffee. And she will have her little like Guimauve snack, right? And she explains the coffee makes her feel like all like light and relaxed and happy, and the guimauve makes her feel even better. And yeah, food can make you feel that way, but there's some little sus vibes here
it gets
in a little bit.
sus. He's like, "What?" So
Yeah,
Fumito, the owner of the cafe, offers her Gimov for the first time, and she asks her friends, like, "What is this supposed to taste like?" And they're all giggling and laughing. And they're like, "It's supposed to taste like a kiss."
yeah,
And
right.
then he like, there's the touching Fumito touching her face quite frequently.
Yeah,
And those are
so
like
it's a
sort of the first signs of
weird
like, what's
vibe.
happening here? Yeah.
Yeah, very weird vibe because this guy's a full grown adult. She like looks like a 16-year-old teenager. So there's some weird energy going on in
Yeah,
there.
and the
And
connection,
the
the way
thing
they
is,
explain it, it doesn't make, sorry to cut you off. Their
no,
connection
you're
is
good.
like, so Saya's mother has passed, and she used to be the village maiden, but she has passed, so now it is Saya's duty. And because her mother passed, it seems that they go to Fumito quite frequently for food. basically. Like the father
Yes.
just doesn't do anything, does no chores, does no cooking, and is barely there. And they go to Fumito's to eat when they need food. And he's in and out of the shrine. He's very involved in the shrine
Their
and their
lives.
lives. Yeah.
And the reasoning that he's so involved is that he apparently was an underclassman
Oh yeah.
of
Yeah.
Saya's father, right? So
Yeah.
that's why they have a relationship
But there
of some
seems to be a
sort.
massive age difference. If you look at
Yeah,
Saya's father and you look at
and then
Fumito, you're like, how'd they go to high school together?
so Saya said her reasoning was they were under. He was an underclassman, but he wasn't there at the same time period that he was there.
So it was an
So
underclassman, but like
super,
years later.
super far. Yeah,
Yeah.
years later, like different. So it doesn't really make too much sense. And another thing that you'll notice is that so she always stops at this cafe in the morning and spends time eating there, and then she shows up to class almost late every day. But the beauty of it is that every time she shows up late, she's always on time.
She's right on time, right? Yeah.
The teacher hasn't shown up yet, and the other kid took Izani hasn't shown up yet at that point either. So it seems like wow, everything kind of works out for her always, and it's interesting how that plays out, right?
Yeah.
So you have that scenario. That's her day to day, and then after she goes to school and she hangs out with her friends and does her little thing, she goes and has lunch with them. She has this cute little like lunch that's made by Fumito for
Yeah,
her,
she's always got a
and
bento box. Yeah.
then afterwards then she goes home, and then she has this like the one of the like the only type of conversation that she has with her father is like her father saying the elder barons are coming,
Yeah.
you must go ahead
Don't
and
be
slay them, like
irresponsible. Don't be
yeah,
foolish. Like he
yeah,
really, there's no affection whatsoever. He just kind of seems like a general or some sort of like manager.
yeah. Literally as a manager. So he basically just gives her the blade every evening and says, "All right, go clap some cheeks." That's basically what he tells her. So she goes out and she fights these old ones, these elder barons, which are all types of different kind of like I guess Japanese like mythology creatures, right? You have a whole variety of them. The character design, I want to say, is incredible. They do a really good job at creating these creatures, making them all have unique abilities and unique kind of attacks and whatnot, if that makes
And they
sense.
they did a really good focus on a lot of those elder barons, and I was discussing their relationship with onis. They designed them to be a lot like the classic oni. Like, there's a few I don't want to get into, but like the different archetypes of the way those onis are created, like the animals they're
Yeah.
made out of, or the structure of their body, are classic oni styles and classic oni creatures that have been around in Japanese culture. Especially like
Yeah.
if you remember the female one that was mostly hair. That one,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's
that
like
one,
a
yeah.
very common oni in Japanese culture. Yeah.
Yeah, so her character type was basically she had a face and a head, a ton of hair, but she was only a head and a spinal cord,
Mhm.
and like she would move around with hair. So like that was her character design, which was really nifty. And there was another one that's like this weird frog-like eight-legged creature. You have one that looks like almost like a Buddhist monk-like statue, but has claws. So like it's a lot of very unique character design when it comes to these creatures, and I
Yep.
really did appreciate that a lot. They really put time into making these look nifty.
Some of them were certain, like you said, the frog spider mix thing was incredibly unique. Never seen anything like that before.
Yeah, never seen anything like that before. I mean, I mean, you have like there's one creature that looks almost like a samurai or a samurai
Yeah, he's
general.
like a
So
stone guardian or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
like a stone guardian. So you have a variety of them that look more humanoid than others. So it kind of varies a little bit, and that's why I appreciate it. There's so much variety into the creatures that she's slaying, but there is an element where they're always trying to talk to her. They're trying to reach out to her and be like,
Does the first does the
Do you
first
not remember?"
does their first battle speak? Isn't it like her
No,
second or third? Right? Yeah.
it's
We
the
don't even
second
know they're
and the second and
conscious
third.
until yeah, because
Yeah,
we start with a certain particular one, like you said, the almost like a Buddhist statue with claws. So it doesn't
yeah.
necessarily, and probably has a way to communicate, but at that point we're not aware that they have consciousness. Yeah.
But this is the similar this whole kind of setting is how every day usually takes
Hmm.
place.
Hmm.
Each day follows the same setting. She goes through her day, she sings her little song, and she ends up killing another elder baron. But every time she gets into a fight, they start kind of mentioning things to her and start making her question her reality.
Hmm.
Now I'm gonna go ahead and leave you here for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk a little bit about what happens to her when she gets into the fights, guys. So it's very interesting. You guys know the anime meta of like in an anime fight, and it's not all like, there's multiple metas, but if you guys are familiar with anime, you know what I'm talking about. There's that meta where like the character is pushed to a certain limit, like they're getting beat up in the fight a lot, right? And they have to be pushed to a certain point or limit, and then they snap, and then they become like powerful and engaged in the fight. And that is very true with Saya. Like in most of these battles, she takes a few hits, she takes some beatings and bruises, which obviously leads to the question of how is she getting up the next day and going to school? Because some of the damage she takes in some of the early parts of these battles is pretty gnarly before she hits her breaking point, if you will, and her eyes subtly change. She seems to have more power than usual, and then usually comes in with a very fierce and quick attack. But that meta there is certainly there. So what's up, Fawn? We were just discussing kind of that anime meta of how you have
Yeah.
the main character in a fight and they're being pushed to like a limit, right? They're kind of getting beat up until they hit that breaking point, and then they kind of snap, and then their power comes into play. They find their
Yeah.
realization, they get focused, and then they enter the battle as an equal. And that's certainly true for most of Saya's battles. She takes some
Yeah.
damage in the first few rounds, which I said also leads to the question of like, how is this girl healing? How is she
Yeah,
ready
right.
to go to
How is she
school?
healing?
Yeah,
That was the very first question because she gets cut, she gets slapped, she gets stabbed left and right, and she heals
thrown around,
overnight.
broken bones for sure.
Yeah,
Like, yeah.
and she heals overnight and is totally fine. So like that was the first inkling of like, wait, what is she? Like, what's
Yeah,
going
that
on
was
here?
probably mine too, where I was like, huh, she's going to school. Because I figured, the next scene she's in bed wrapped in bandages, but that's not the case. She's waking up and going to school the next day. And I'm like, all right. Didn't know if
Chusky
there was
says
a. Go ahead.
Chusky says that the long hair Oni has been shown in so many different forms. It definitely inspires fear. Yeah, most
Oh,
definitely.
certainly.
That long hair Oni is it's something else, right?
Scary.
Um, Now, along with that, when we go into the fighting, let's talk about the animation.
Yeah.
Some of these fights have incredible animation.
Oh, yeah.
Some of them are simplistic in style because it's just like a quick slash. But there's certain fights towards the end, especially, that are nutty at how well the animations executed, especially for their time period of 2011. Right? Not like nowadays where like we have Jujutsu Kaisen that's like outrageous mappa animation and stuff.
Right.
This is really good animation for back then as well. And these fight scenes are very well developed and they're really very well thought out, right? And they're gruesome.
The
So
physics are really good. The way that, like, I
yeah,
mean, say she gets like like knocked off, she catches a wall and shoots back, but the physics are really well put together. Like the angles are right. The force that which she seems to be delivering these blows are really affecting. Like she might chop a limb, but it might stutter them too because of the force she cut them with. So the animation
yeah.
was very detailed. I loved the fighting animation. Very
There's a lot of
clean.
depth and yeah, they actually put thought process into the fight rather than just like because it is this anime focuses very heavily on the gore, but they don't only focus on that. They focus on
Absolutely.
actually all the supporting elements to lead up to that gore factor, right?
It's the whole
Now
scene.
you
It's the whole
yeah,
fight scene, right?
the whole fight scene, right? So you'll see like for example like what's his name? Quentin Tarantino takes a lot of influence from a lot of these Japanese culture kind of films and movies where like when you cut off a limb, it just shoots blood everywhere.
Spraying, yeah.
Sprays blood everywhere.
The
You'll see a
crazy
lot of
88 scene
that.
from
Yeah.
Kill Bill, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That whole scene is inspired by Japanese culture and how they go ahead and show these kills and limbs being thrown off and blood spraying everywhere. So you'll see a lot of that in this anime. It's basically any cut you get, there's gonna be a lot of blood
You
like
know what
every
I
time.
just had a realization too? American culture in our cinema, when people get killed, shot, hacked up, often don't make a sound. In Japanese culture, you know it's happening. They're like, ah, like it's
Yeah, they're
like
like
there's a
screaming.
reaction, like in Western culture, it's usually like some sort of like, oh, I chopped his arm off, he's dead. Like, well, no, he'd be laying on the ground like screaming in pain,
In
but like,
ag-
yeah,
yeah, unless they hit like the moment of shock, right?
sure,
So
sure,
if you are so shocked, you won't react. You'll just be stunned, right?
true,
So it really depends. And then there's like a pain threshold. So if you got to the point where you hit your pain threshold, you just pass out, right?
true,
Um,
true.
So there's some variables there too, but moving forward with the storyline as the entire story kind of progresses, right? And yes, freedom. There are a lot of genres when it comes to anime. So there's like just to touch on a few. Right now we're doing the horror animes for October, which is a whole subgenre of its own, and then there's shonen, which is your mainstream genre. There's a
Yeah.
whole bunch of different kinds of different styles. When we did Steins Gate,
Isekai,
yeah,
thrillers,
isekais, yeah.
comedies, everything you can. It's basically all the genres you're used to, and then divide those and look for minimum gaps in between them and create a new genre. And that's what you.
Yeah.
Anime has so many different genres.
It's really nifty. Like for example, like isekais are like people who are being put into another world, right? Lots of the classic ones are basically people end up dying or they end up loading into a video game world and they can't get out and now they're in there. A perfect example is the famous Sword Art Online, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
that's like one of those specific genres. So there's a lot of them, and we're touching on the horror genre, which we were talking about the pacing of how these are usually brought out. And as we go forward, basically Saya in all these fight scenes, she eventually starts meeting elder barons who speak to her and they say, "What's the promise that you made?" They question her as to like they say like, "Oh, this isn't how you normally fight. What's going on?"
Yeah, they
And
start asking her the
they start asking
covenant.
her questions. Yeah,
Yeah.
why have you broken like why is the covenant broken, right? And the covenant, if you guys don't know, you find this out much later in the anime, but the covenant basically what it is, it's a deal between humans and these elder barons where humans will allow them to kill a certain amount of humans every year, and then they just don't they don't mess with each other because the
Right.
humans know that they can't take these guys out.
They
They
mentioned
know
it. They
that they're
called
at
it the
disadvantage.
Great Fast, right? So,
Yeah.
because the Elder Barons used to feed on whoever, whatever they want, humans battled them, and then the Elder Baron, they created the Covenant, and the Elder Barons go into what is known as the Great Fast, and they're not eating as much as they usually would, but they're, yeah, as Fallen said, they are limited to a certain amount. And I want to say hello to Anime 24/7. Thanks for stopping by on the chat, man. We're just recently moving the Anime Crunch Show over to streaming live on YouTube. We usually stream it. We have Fallen is actually live on Twitch right now. I usually
Yes, sir.
am, but I've started bringing it over to YouTube. So thank you so much for stopping by, Anime 24/7. How are you?
So yeah, so the pacing of this anime is generally kind of slow, but they add inklings every single at that towards the end of every episode. They drop an inkling of all right, what is happening here? What is going on?
Usually a
And then
cliffhanger, almost every
yeah, it's usually a
episode.
cliffhanger. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what happens is that these little moments in every episode start making you question every episode afterwards. They start making you question, what is she being fed? What is she eating? Why are these people acting the way they are? Why is she always the center of attention? And it starts really getting into your psyche. Now you're like almost like a conspiracy theorist, like with like a map,
Yeah.
and you have all these different
At
connections being
episode
made.
8, I'm like, does this girl eat anything other than pastries and coffee? Like,
Yeah,
like
like she
what?
like I haven't seen her eat anything else. And something else to notice: she's the only person who drinks the coffee in town. Whenever she's sitting at Gimov
They
and
all
she's sitting
get
with her
tea.
dad,
Yeah.
yeah, they all get tea, and she's the only one who has the coffee, which is nuts to
And
me.
she's even given the option. Fumito asks her multiple times, "What would you like to eat? I will prepare you a meal." And she asks for coffee and gimois. Gimois.
Yeah,
For gimois. I don't know how to say it.
I think it's like Gimov.
Gimov. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like little pastries. They're like these little cube pastries. They can be any color. But in this anime, they are pink. We
Some
don't know
sort of
why
rice
yet.
cake, it looks
Yeah,
like. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, they're
and they're
very
super
cute.
soft and squishy.
They
Yeah,
sell them
They're-
to you as a very cute and playful treat, but
Yeah, but you'll find out later it's not really that, right? But moving forward, so as this goes on, what happens is the elder barons become a little bit more active, and what happens is that the quote unquote main cast starts dying off, right? You have Nene and Nono, which are these twins, and I believe they are one of them is the first one to pass away, the
yeah.
first one to die,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And in that scenario, and quote unquote die, and then slowly but surely,
Oh, no,
these
no, actually
individuals.
it's the baker. The
Oh yeah,
baker
the
is
baker. Yes,
yeah.
the baker goes into the train, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yes, he goes
Yep.
into the train. This is true. So the baker gets eaten by an elder baron.
But
Saya
he is
ends
a
up
side
showing up.
character. We don't know
Yeah,
the baker
we
at
don't
all. We
know.
just know, like, they give us all that information as they say he's missing. They're like, there's one bakery in town, and it's run by one baker, and we get one cut scene, and we see him, and that's it.
Yeah. So it almost seems like he's hypnotized, and he walks in, and then he just gets
Yeah, it's kind of
absolutely wrecked.
creeping through the town as if he's been, hypnotized or, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so he ends up getting clapped, and then Saya ends up killing that elder baron. And then what happens is then you have Nene and Nono. One of them, I forget exactly which twin dies first, but one of them dies first, quote
Yeah.
unquote,
She
dies
comes
and
out to the
gets eaten.
shrine. Yeah, she comes out
Yeah,
to say like sorry or to check on. Oh yeah, they
to
came
check
out to
on
check
Saya.
on Saya, and yeah, an Elder Baron shows up, which I believe in the story had never happened during the daytime. So this was the
Yeah,
first like unknown, like immediate showing up of an Elder Baron. So it was a pretty gnarly event.
yeah, definitely gnarly. And then
And this
as
is
the
her
time
friend, right,
progresses,
guys? This is her
yeah,
high
this is
school
her friend.
friend that gets basically murdered in front of her.
So that adds that like pressure to her mind. She's like, "Oh my god, this happened." She's being put under a lot of stress. These various different stressful factors affect her psyche as a whole and makes her start questioning her entire
She
lifestyle
starts to
too.
get flashbacks, right? She starts to get
Yeah.
bits and pieces of conversations she's had, and they come back more and more. They start as just quotes, and I think it's like one of those like "I promise to protect them all" was like one of the first quotes. Like she keeps thinking, like she keeps hearing these things in her head where she's promised to make sure that no one dies and to protect everyone. And these flashbacks start to steadily increase into bigger actual visions. You start to see a room. You start to see more what's going on in the room. So she's definitely under a lot of the death of her friend, these crazy flashbacks, gnarly headaches that have been plaguing her since like the third episode. A lot of
Yeah.
stress at this point. Yeah.
And then remember, in the beginning of these every episode, you do have this narrator character that mentions a little bit of information, like kind of he just kind of pokes at the viewer psyche, and
Yeah.
makes you question like life and like nature versus nurture situations of like how human experiences function. And if you were to change the human experience, if you change where the individual puts like you put an individual, you put them in a different nurturing environment, will they change? And it kind of makes you think of these things while also watching the actual anime and the story, which then actually helps you start questioning things as well. So they do a really good job at making the viewer always stay thinking, right?
Mhm.
They're just not just apathetically sitting back and just watching this happen. They're actually thinking and processing the information that's being given to them, right?
Right. It's as soon as they turned it on. Like episode one, I was like, "Oh, what is going on here? This isn't very spooky. This isn't very like gnarly. Like, okay, she killed the guy. Is this like an action anime?" And then as soon as episode two hits, they turn it on, and you start questioning things. They take you outside of your comfort zone. You're like, "Why is this happening? That's a little eerie. What's up with her dad?" Like, yeah, they set you in the first episode. They're like, "Welcome," and then they start to fuck with your head.
Yeah. And I really appreciate that kind of stuff. I like animes that make you actively think and actively react and to come up with your own theories, right?
As do
You're
I.
not
That's how
just
I was able to
yeah.
get through it. Because gore and horror is certainly not a favorite genre of mine, but if you can add that mental stimuli, I'm there for it. I'm there
Yeah,
for it. Yeah.
because it actually makes you like start guessing and like, bro, I was making my own conspiracy theories. I
Oh
was like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I was like, having my own theories, and like the entire time, and that's what you want out of an anime. You want an anime to make you think and be guessing of what's gonna happen
And then
next.
hopefully the
That's what
result
makes
is
something.
far better than even your best guess, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
So as it progresses, she then runs into situations where more of her friends end up getting clapped by these elder barons
One
during the
shows up at
day.
the school and
Yeah.
just wreaks havoc on these
Woof.
high school kids. I mean,
Woof. Yeah, that's one of that. So you have like some of the that's one of the goriest sections, right?
yeah,
This
definitely.
like this elder baron comes in. He looks like almost like a purple frog with like 8 legs, and he absolutely just goes into the school setting. And she notices beforehand, right? Saya says, "Wait, where is everybody else? Why are we the only class here?" And then everybody just starts getting bodied left and right. People are dying left and right everywhere,
In very
and
gruesome ways. Like I at
very
one
gruesome
point a
ways.
character is just running away and a window breaks and the glass falls and like
Yeah.
impales him through his shoulder and kills him. And it's like
Yep.
that quick. It's not even it's like a 2 second scene and I was just like the brutalness they have put into this.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And they thought about it too, right? They
Oh
actually processed how that would work because if the glass did break, there is a chance that a piece of glass would fall and kill somebody, right? So you have these variables. If you watch Squid Game, game, right? When the glass exploded, when one of the last few episodes, that one character does get impaled by glass. So like they have that realism, right? They have that depth to the actual like scenarios and the scenes, and not just hyper focused on, oh, the creature's killing everything. No, there's other ancillary things. People get trampled, people fall over each other.
Very cool
Like this is
scenes in that.
all real,
At
like
one
real
point, a
situations.
character tries to leap from the third story window, which you're thinking, oh, he might break his legs, but he's probably going to live. Mid leap, the monster extends an arm and impales the poor guy. Like, they
Yep.
really, really put some detail into some of this gore. Like, you could call it an action scene if you want, but it is horror.
Yeah, it's just how gruesome some of these deaths are. Like you have these two girls who are just frozen with fear, and like they're just trying to like find a way to get out, and then this thing just comes in, just impales one through the face, and then the other like, and they do such a good animation of like showing the
Fear.
shock and the
Yeah.
fear in like an actual character's face.
She's
It's
frozen.
really hard.
Watches her
Yeah,
friend die 2 feet from her and is like, turns, clapped.
clapped. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they do an incredible job, and a lot of anime struggle with this, showing complete and utter shock, fear, and just pain
At
in
the
the
right
eyes.
level, right?
Yeah.
In anime. It's often over exaggerated. It's that massive like like big eye scene, and there's like oh nani, like it's so exaggerated. But in this anime, they certainly seem to capture a realistic human emotion.
Yeah, like a human, yeah, human reaction, which I really, really do appreciate that. The human reactions of fear, of panic, like they do a very good job at animating it. So I do appreciate that a ton, a ton. You guys know me. I like the gore. We have the spooky vibes in here, so I don't mind it. I really enjoyed seeing how they animated all the deaths. But overall, that scene is very heavy, and it's the first time that Saya actually really shows that she is this shrine maiden who kills these things to
Mhm.
her main cast, her main
Yeah,
friends,
that's why I
right?
was a little freaked out when that happened too. I was like, "Oh, now everybody knows," because it seemed to have been like a secret. She went out in at
Secret,
night
yeah,
and stuff, and she like didn't really like. No one questioned her about it. No one knew. No one seems to even know the Elder Barons exist.
yeah.
But then it's like it's not. You can't deny it now. It just murdered half of your high school. Like,
Yeah. So she ends up defending, but majority of the people in the situation end up dying, guys. Majority of the people get killed off. One of her better like best friends ends up getting killed in the roof with a whole bunch of other people. The only people who end up surviving this situation are three individuals. You have Tokizane, who is the kid who didn't come to school. He ditched school that day. You have the teacher Kanako, who ended up not being in the classroom at that time, and then you have what was it? It's is it Itsuki?
yeah, Itsuki, the class president.
Yeah, the class president ends up surviving because Saya ends up protecting him.
Yeah.
Beyond that, what happens next is Kanako kind of just hits Saya with a really heavy question and hits her, and I don't want to really like
Yeah, that
yeah,
changed the whole mood of the show
the
because you were
whole
like,
mood of the
"Wait,
show.
what did you just say?" Like,
Yeah. So she hits her with a very, very heavy question that then kind of shakes her world. And she starts having more flashbacks. And then she just goes, I bet she ends up going back to bed and she ends up waking up in bed, right? Now, we have to mention this little pupperoo. There's a little pupper in the show that's really cute, and he's a little homie. He's based off of another Japanese mythology. He's a wish granting dog, and he's kind of like a comforting figure for Saya. Kind of just like talks to her, helps her realize the situation. He's trying to help her. She's in a lot of internal mental stress, and he's kind of like almost like her therapist character. Like,
Mhm.
hey, how you doing? Let me help you here. And they just chit chat a little bit. The first person to ever show her true affection when she's in pain is this dog. So keep that in mind. The dog character is a fantastic character. Now, my only question is, where did he end up going at the end of the
I
show?
was literally about to say like I kind of get what he is, but I don't. I'm like, is there a wish limit? Like what where do you go? Who are you? Like I didn't understand. Like there was a lot of open ended with that.
Yeah,
Fun fact: dog in Japanese is inu. If you guys didn't know, INU inu is dog. And that dog actually doesn't have a name in the series. He's just dog.
yeah,
Yeah.
just dog. So she does make a wish at one point, but I don't want to ruin that for you guys. I want you guys to kind of figure that out on your own. It's kind of just it's a wish that helps reveal information to her, to help her sort her own mind. That's why I think the Doge is like her little therapist dog almost.
Yeah, I think, and
Um,
that's what he's meant. Maybe meant to just be that like chibi side character, helper, fairy type,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, because there's moments where like after her entire like school gets murdered, she is in shambles, and like no one's there to comfort her. Her father not there, friends not there, and this little pupperoo just rolls up and puts his tail on her foot, and then she just cuddles him and hugs him. It's like the one of the very few like innocent and wholesome moments in the show, right, where it's true emotion. There's nothing kind of in the background that's like has an ulterior motive. It's true, just comfort.
Yeah.
And I think, I guess that would be her like what, her comfort dog, her
Yeah,
service dog,
because
right?
I was gonna say at that point in the anime, something is needed to keep her going because like that
Yeah,
happens, most people will not be able to continue on. So like I think she really needed that connection, or at least they felt like she needed someone who could understand her pain and plight. So then you have this character who is aware of everything that's going on and can
yeah.
understand what she's going through, and then she's able to continue on after that. And maybe without that dog, wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, that's very true. And what happens next is basically the remaining characters end up showing up and kind of like doing their little show, running their role in the story, the typical role that they play. You have Tokizane rolls up on her and says, "I like you," and all this stuff,
I will
and like
protect
pulls at her,
you. Yeah.
"I'll protect you," and like all these little pulls on her heartstrings after like another elder baron fight. You have various individuals who are just kind of like trying to fill these roles, but it seems so superficial when
Yeah.
you see it. It seems so typical, and it's just like I feel like I don't trust them. I don't really trust any of them. So she
Right.
goes
At
about her
first,
day
I
once
was like
again.
questioning the writing. I was like, "What's going on here? This is like super cool." Like the interaction with Tokizane and her after that little elder baron fight in the field. I'm like, "This is the most corniest thing I've ever seen," and
Yeah.
this is fully like explained to you later on in the series. Yeah.
There's a lot of like very corny interactions with her, and it's like little like hoo woo moments, like little
hmm
cute little bullshit, but it's just like, where is this coming from? Why is it has no depth to it? And then what happens is, we're gonna kind of fast forward a little bit here, is one of the characters, the teacher, gets fed up with the situation. She's here and she goes up to Saya and says, "Hey, let's figure this out. I want to look at your history books. I want to look at the records of your shrine, because apparently this shrine is hundreds of years old."
Yeah, and
And
this
she
teacher
came,
is very interested in history and Japanese
yeah,
culture, so she wants to see these original texts. She calls them.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happens is they go down there, they're hanging out, and when they go and look at it, she says, "Do you notice anything?" And Saya's like, "No, these are the old scriptures." And then she goes and picks a random book out and says, "This is a modern book. There's
Yeah.
nothing inside the
Fresh
books. There's
pages,
no
clean,
fresh
clean.
pages,
Yeah. And
no
some of them are
writing."
empty, you're right, yeah, they pull out some
Yeah,
of the books and there's just no text on them at all.
no
Yep.
text on them at all. There's certain ones that do have text, but it's a brand. It's dude. It's like a marble notebook. Like
Yeah,
they just put a
it's
bunch of marble
modern bound,
notebooks.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a modern binding versus like a scripture or a scroll or something that you would see in a shrine like of this caliber, right? So that's another situation where Saya's like, "What's going
Breaks
on?
her brain, she's like,
What is
"What?"
happening?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And then at that point, Kanako, the teacher, ends up saying, "All right, Sai, it's time to wake up. Like, let's go. Come on.
Yeah.
What's happening here?" And then from there, there's a little thing that they do. And Nova, if you want to go ahead and dive into that section there,
Specifically which section are you oh, are
the
you talking about,
blood,
like, the what? Sorry.
the blood.
Oh, okay. So the blood. That's and actually I think that scene is where I first noticed it. When the teach that's when I hit you with that theory of the drinks and stuff was
Yeah,
when they were sitting in the cafe and the teacher is like looks over at her with this just creepy expression is like, "I want to go to your shrine. I want to look through your records." And Saya even tells her like, "Nah, my dad's not home. Like, I got to ask him." And she pushes right there in front of Fumito, which is also weird. Fumito's just like listening to this conversation. So I was like, I don't think it's a good idea. But they looked down at this coffee, and I had like this just realization when I looked down at it and the hue of the coffee. I thought
it
of
doesn't look like coffee,
I thought
dude.
of Tokyo Ghoul, and that's
Yeah,
when it clicked for me. I was like, oh. And that leads to my theory of the title. Do we want to reveal? You want me to say? Like, I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but
go for
okay,
it.
my theory is that Blood C, the C stands for the coffee. When we saw the coffee in the cup, when we saw the weird interactions, it was that same scene of when Kaneki looks down into the cup and he sees it for the first time, and it's just a little bit different looking than coffee. And then you see the tea, of course, as Fallen mentioned. All the other characters only drink tea and water and other things. I was like, is there blood in this coffee? What the fuck? And at this point, I thought Sai was a vampire.
Yeah.
I did. I thought Sai was a
So
vampire.
so as the story progresses, I don't want to ruin
It's very
anything for
difficult.
you guys
Yeah.
because there's a huge twist at the end
We could
that's
say
just
that
like
we could safely say
woof.
that after this book scene, her friends gather and reveal a massive conspiracy to her.
Yes, a huge conspiracy. They reveal it to her. You find out who the big bad figure is, and then from
A
there,
lot of the dots are
shit hits
connected.
the fan.
Yeah.
Shit hits the fan. All the dots are connected, and Saya's just there in disbelief as to what is being
Her whole
revealed to
world
her.
is shattered through this
Yeah,
conspiracy, and it changes everything. And then they give you no time to digest this information. It's straight into, some battle scenes and some gnarly shit going on.
yeah. Literally goes into a bunch of battle scenes. A bunch of people just get torn apart. It's the gore is crazy. I'm gonna see if I can pull up a quick little snippet of the bunny rabbits because everyone's seen this
Oh my
gif.
god, that was so gnarly, that scene.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up some bunny rabbits for you guys. It's gonna be in low definition so that you guys don't get too much information. But I'm gonna go ahead and send you this link real fast. It's like
Yeah,
20
absolutely.
20 seconds. Bear with me for a second, chat.
Absolutely.
All right, we're good.
I've got it.
All right, chat. So this kind of should give you an idea of what to expect in this anime. And this is something that happens after the big reveal. So in three, two, one, go.
Oh, seeing it again. Oh my god, there it is.
Yo.
Oh.
That's a pile of human bodies there. People just getting hit. Like it's nuts. This shit is outrageous, and that's 20 seconds of footage for you guys. Like the last two episodes of this anime are outrageous. They
Yeah.
are so
It's
aggressive.
incredible how much unfolds in the last two episodes, and it makes you totally stoked you watched the first 10.
Yeah, it's super worth it to go through the slow burn of the first 10 episodes because the last two episodes are just like woof. Like it's just a huge reveal. All your theories and conspiracies become revealed. You'll see if you're right or not, and then the ending whole entire sequence is outrageous. It's like they took all their budget and they're just like yeet. They just
Yep.
sent it into that.
Yep,
They
they
sent it into the
certainly
last
did.
episode, and you have an incredible fight scene. That it's a one-on-one fight scene between Saya and another individual that I'm not going to reveal to you guys. That's a super aggressive fight. Then along with that, you have these demons that I believe the big bad figure actually brought these
And we
bunny rabbits
saw,
that you guys
yep,
saw.
yeah.
He brought the bunny rabbits around to do what they're doing for a specific reason as he is escaping. So we're not going to reveal too much of that information for you guys. It is definitely worth it. It's super quick watch, guys. If you start this up like anime in like the morning, you'll finish it by the evening.
Yeah,
It's super
yeah.
quick to get through this.
And there
Oh,
is, I won't say
we're
who.
currently talking
Go
about
ahead.
Blood Sea.
Blood Sea, yeah, the first season of Blood Sea, not to be confused with Blood Plus or the movie. This is the 12 episode series that we're
if you
discussing.
guys if you guys would like to, you can actually watch the movie instead. It's basically the entire season just kind of shortened down into a movie sequence, but you don't get as much detail. You don't get as much of that like kind of time to really kind of question everything that's going on. So it is a fun little watch if you watch the movie, but I recommend watching the anime over the movie. Now, Blood Plus, if you do enjoy Blood Sea, is another wild ride. This shit escalates very quickly. It has a lot more character development because it is so much
Much
longer.
longer. They have the time
There's a
to.
lot. They have
Yeah.
a lot more arcs, a lot more growth with the characters too. So Blood C focuses on this one big twist at the end. Blood Plus has a bunch of time to be able to develop all these other twists and turns all over the place, right?
Right.
The Blood franchise is known for its gore, so always be ready to see blood, right?
Yep. And there's a beautiful, I won't say which character, but there is a beautiful Goosebumps walk away at the very end of this series that really, I was just like, oh my God, is there a season two? Like,
Yeah.
and now that I know that Blood Plus exists, even if it is a different universe, same character based in a new storyline, I'll probably be watching it.
Yeah, no, it's really good. My buddies actually are watching it now. They're binging through the entire thing because it is really really good. Penguin Pyro did stop by and chat and said that he preferred Blood Plus over Blood C. Blood C is your quick watch,
Yep.
and to people who want like a quick horror with a lot of gore, good character develop, a good story
Good
development, not
binge
character
worthy
development.
marathon
Yeah,
show
a
for you and
binge
your
worthy
girl.
anime. Blood C
October.
will do it for you.
Yeah, it's a good Halloween one. If you're having a Halloween party, you want to throw the Blood Sea movie on, or throw up the series in the background. It's great. It fits that vibe. It's spooky. It gets you outside your comfort zone, and I enjoyed it. Um,
Yeah. What, you
from
want to go
there,
into
yep,
crunch time?
yes sir,
Cool.
yes sir. Did I go
Hell yeah.
first last episode, or did you? I'm not even
I
sure.
did. I went first.
Okay.
I think. I believe I did. Right? Yeah, I did.
All right, guys. So this is the Crunch Time Anime Crunch Review section. So this is what we call Crunch Time. We get in here, and Fallen and I go through the different ways we grade these shows, and we give you a 1 out of 10 score based on our personal liking of the show. And this score doesn't really have to do with genre; it really more has to do with the development of the show, talking about world building, character development, animation, score, things like that. So more of an overall score to the show. But getting right into that, we'll get into my Anime Crunch Time review of the first season of Blood Plus. I really enjoyed the series right off the bat, especially in the first few episodes. I was getting into it. I liked the first character. I personally am not one for gore, but that's not going to affect my score. I was grossed out quite a bit. I'm just giving you some personal background. A few times, and it definitely, I was like, oh my God. Ugh, I know I don't watch these shows, but I was ultimately very impressed with the music. Of course, I really loved the score in this, and there was a few songs I even recognized that I was like, oh, I know that song. They probably paid a pretty penny for that royalty, but they
Yeah,
made
yeah,
sure
yeah.
to get
There is
it.
a few in there.
Right? Yeah. So I was like, they made sure to get it. I think that's may have been what it was with the show. Maybe they had a more strict budget, but I think they planned it out perfectly and did it so well. It is a 12 episode series. So talking about the animation, I was grossed out by the gore, but that's a good thing, right? The gore was so detailed and well done that I was able to relate to it in real life. I didn't see it as cartoon characters dying. I saw it as real people being ripped in half. So they really got their animation across the board with that. The detail in some of that gore is very well done. And then when it's left out, it's very well done, especially as like a background death or things that can happen behind the main character and stuff like that. So animation, it gets a great score from me. I loved the score. Obviously, the character development isn't there for many characters. The story focuses around Saya. There is character development for Saya, and you'll see why that character development doesn't really exist for most of the other characters. Um, I can't say too
Is
much. Yeah.
I think it's due to the twist at the
Yeah,
end.
it is due
You'll
to that twist
see
at the end
there
why these
there
characters don't get a lot of development.
yeah, there is. You'll see like that there is not really a specific development of the character. It's more of a reveal of their true character, if that
Right. I
makes
guess
sense.
that happens. Yeah. And then in that moment, you get a very good sense of who they are when they do reveal who their characters are because they take you through a quick reason of, who they are, and what they're doing there. So during that reveal, you do find out their true motives and whatnot. So there's a very big point of character development. Other than that, the art is fantastic. Aside from the animation, I really like the art style. It is set modern day, but it has this Eto period feel with and they even mentioned the goofy school costumes and how they don't make any sense at some points. But I loved it. Saya was designed very well. I watched about half the season on Hulu and then about the second half on Funimation to see some of the gore. And wow, it was a world of difference. But overall, I really enjoyed the show. I liked the mental like roller coaster. I liked the thriller ride. I liked the guessing, and then finally getting my answers, which were nothing that I had thought. Like nothing I had. All of my theories were wrong. Basically, I had mentioned I thought Sai was a vampire. Completely wrong. But overall, loved the show. Would recommend, especially to people of the horror or gorge, like you like that stuff. Junji Ito, fans of him. This is a show that you might really enjoy. It is October. It is spooky season. This fits us perfectly. Overall, I want to give the show a solid 8.5. I think it was fantastic. I think there was like things that could be done. Like I would love to see a 24 episode. It was only
Yes.
12. and that's all it was because I loved it so much I wanted more. So like the show's practically a 9 for me. I'm giving it an 8.5 just because it felt very short. Maybe it was budget wise, or maybe they just wanted to make sure they did a really good series and didn't want a long format. But either way, I was left wanting at the end. I really liked it. An 8.5 for me.
Yeah, they really left it super open ended at the
Oh,
ending, like
very. Yeah, I
super
thought
open
there would be.
ended.
I was like, season two, like drop down
Yeah.
bar. What's up? Like,
Yeah, I look for a drop down bar. Same here, dude. It was nuts.
yeah.
So into my crunch time. Basically, a lot of similarities with me, myself and Nova. But I come from a background where I love horror and gore. To give you guys a little perspective, I'm running a horror movie double feature tonight with my buddies. I'm doing like a whole rump roast right now in the oven and stuff like that while we do this show. So I'm very much so into the horror category. I'm very okay and desensitized to the gore. So I'm more so when I see the gore, I appreciate how they do it, how well they execute upon it, and the type of detail that they put into all the different moments that happen. Now, beyond that story development, keep in mind this is my second time watching this anime. So I went into it having, but I saw it a
You
handful of
could
years ago.
watch it more for detail, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like so now that I was watching for a second time, I knew that in the ending there was a big reveal and everything was like I knew similar of what the big reveal was. I didn't know the exact details. So in going into the second watch through, I was actually questioning everything. I was like, oh man, okay, so that's fake, that's fake, that's fake. I
Right.
was just
You
trying
could
to figure
see
out what's
things.
real and what's
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah.
I was able to pay attention to a lot more that I didn't notice the first time around, which I really enjoyed that. Having like being able to, I would recommend if you do enjoy the series, go back and watch it a second time at some point,
I'm
and you'll
thinking of
actually
it
enjoy
now
it even
based on
more.
what you're saying. Yeah, that would
Yeah,
probably change the. Yeah, it would. It obviously changes
it
the
changes
entire
the
way you
experience.
watch it. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm watching it from like almost like a skeptical eye rather than just like a general viewing perspective,
Right.
which that's why I love that Nova hasn't seen it. So he had one experience, I had a whole different experience. So when I was going into it, I was questioning every single decision that was made, every single word that was said, everything that was directed towards the main character, everything that was presented to her, everything was a question for me. And it made the experience it made my mental experience even more in depth. I was thinking the entire time, which was very, very fun. I enjoyed that out of an anime. If the anime makes me think and feel something, I think an anime does a very good job at being what it is, right? Being an
Yeah.
anime. So
Watchable. Right.
you want to feel something, right? That's what we
Yeah.
do here as streamers. We want you to feel something when you're here. So feeling something is the key. So when I was watching this, beyond the actual story and me questioning everything and the outrageously like nutty reveal at the end that really bumps it up some points. That reveal is crazy. Along with that, animation wise, very well executed for its time. Super clean work. The fight scenes were super efficient. They had some very realistic movement and hits. Obviously, the characters have superhuman abilities, so certain things that would kill a normal person, they kind of just bounce back from. But the movement of the fights and the rotations that they make and how they move is natural and it makes sense. So I do appreciate that animation quality. Now, the setting of the atmosphere, how they create the tense and uncomfortable atmosphere is an art form and a half, man. And it's really, really
Agreed.
good. So, like, if, for example, a good horror film that does good atmospheric horror is Midsummer. If you guys have ever never seen it, I highly recommend it. But Midsummer is very much so an atmospheric horror that gives you that kind of energy and that vibe. Yo, the big man Jim Jam with the 11-month subscription. Holy shit,
Dude,
dude,
he hit
almost a
me with
year,
it too. Yeah, same.
bro.
We're on 11
You're
months, dude. It's
you're
fucking
nutty,
incredible.
fam.
Love you, Jim
Love
Jam.
you,
Thanks for
man.
stopping by, brother.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. But yeah, so the atmospheric horror is very, very cool. The character design is nifty. Obviously, the outfits are black and red, super edgy, like look. I
Chains
did
on the
enjoy.
collar. Yeah.
Yeah, like dude, chains on the collar
Where
to
does
start
that?
a school.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like it's as if they go to like a goth kid school and it's like, wow, this is an aesthetic and a half. But beyond that, all the other elements, how well in depth they write such a short story, right,
hmm
is very, very impressive to me. Beyond that, the score is very good. They have certain songs in there that, as you mentioned, you have to really pay a pretty penny to have them in there.
Yeah.
So beyond that, I think everything in overall, the character development, there isn't really much character development, but it's more so a reveal of true character. So I give it a pass, right? You guys know that if you guys have been to the show, I'm very much so focused on developing characters, but this show has a different angle when it goes to that, and I do appreciate the angle that it went for. So overall, I think I believe I agree with the Miss Nova. I give it an 8.5 as well, and especially for spooky season, I would definitely say I highly recommend binging this really easily. Now, go ahead and check Blood Plus afterwards if you want. If you want a longer version of this too, there's a lot of twists and turns, a lot of good fights, a lot of good story development, and there's a lot more character development in it. So overall, I hope you guys do enjoy this anime. It's 8.5 for me, and I thank you for allowing me to explain my crunch
Oh, an
time.
8.5. All right. All right.
So now, chat, we're gonna go ahead and roll into your next three options for the final spooky season anime that we're gonna be voting on here.
Yes, sir. Let's get them rolling
All
and
right.
get those
So
up.
first things first, we got Dead Man Wonderland. We're gonna show you the trailer here. This is the one that we're bringing back from last week. I wanted to give this one a second chance because it is really, really good, and it is short enough that you can binge it in a 2 week
And
period.
it does fit our
Just
theme. It's October. It's
oh
spooky
yeah.
season, right? Like we gotta have the spooky animes.
So here we go. In three, two, one, go. Classic Funimation. Nice,
Love it.
nice.
You should be watching.
You see, you see that futuristic phone?
That was cool as fuck. I like sci-fi. I also like the body detail. I see elbows and neck creases and
Yeah.
things.
Studio that made Shamrock Shampoo and Ergo Proxy.
Incredibly classic. Both of them classics.
Yeah. There's action, there's horror, there's reveals. It's crazy. There's twists and turns in this anime, and it's a futuristic society that is so desensitized to
This has
death.
got some Squid Games feels to it.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. This has Squid Game feels. And there's superhuman abilities. There's a lot of elements that go into it. This anime did get banned from being able to produce any more seasons after this one because the manga gets so gory and so dark. Japan was
Wow.
like, "Yeah, nah, you can't make any more seasons."
I've never even heard of that happening. That's incredible. I really want to watch this now.
Yeah.
Isn't that
So
terrible? We're told it's bad, and we're like, yeah, let's watch it.
yeah, like let's watch it. The manga is really good and it's not super long either. So if you guys do want to check it out, you can read the manga. It's only a handful of volumes, but it gets nuts, guys. So they only were allowed to make one season, and it's very, very good. I highly
And I'm
recommend
sure
it.
you can pick this up used in manga form at any of your local shops or used bookstores. You might be able to find it. I've even found
Yeah.
manga. I found episodes and volumes of Naruto at Goodwill before.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can also, dude. You can get it on Amazon for like super cheap because it's not like a mainstream anime anymore, right?
Oh
So you can
yeah,
get
I
it
just
for a
like the
good deal too.
hunt. I like going out
The,
and
the
like
Das Hund.
yeah, like a couple bucks in your pocket, hoping you come home with something good. That's how I found a
Yeah.
couple issues of Yawamushi Pedal. So that was really
Oh
cool.
hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. But
All right,
moving
so
on
we're
into
going.
our next series.
The next one is a absolute horror classic. If you do like horror and you guys have not seen this yet, I highly recommend it. This is Elfin Lied. This is twists, turns, gore, action. Crazy human experience. I hope you guys do enjoy this trailer. Here we go. In
All
three,
right.
2, 1, go. First line, I was born to put an end to human life. But you can see how it's like an older styled animation too.
Yeah. Oh, certainly. This is the painted backgrounds. Those stairs were a painted scene.
Yep. The bro, the first episode of this anime is outrageous. It's so aggressive. It goes 0 to 100 real quick, and then it goes into like slow burn to another climax.
Interesting.
You
That's a
can see the
common meta.
character design too. The
Yeah.
character design is super old school. It has that old feel from like the early 2000s, you know?
Yep. The colors are very like desaturated. They're not like as vibrant and solid.
Even the design of the eyes.
Yep. Oh, those
Dun, dun,
big,
dun.
big eyes. Yeah.
Yeah. This background music is iconic for this anime too.
I love this violin. Yeah, this background music's awesome.
Oh yeah, the violin vibes in this anime are next level. Yeah, this song
Trailer
has
was
been
quite
remixed.
vague.
Yeah, it's super vague. Super
And then
vague,
this,
but
like a poinsettia
yeah.
just covered in blood? Like,
Yes.
what?
So
Okay.
just to kind of give you guys a little bit of an idea, she is as she said, she is a creature that was developed to kill humans, to hunt and kill humans, and that's kind of that background setting that I'll give you. But she loses her memory, and then she ends up where she is, and that's all the information I'm going to give you. This is. Regarded as one of the best scores for a horror anime ever done, and it's one of the most classic horror anime ever done. The song itself has been remixed into lo-fi over and over again. The opening theme is very 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 used in a lot of lo-fi hip hop. I highly recommend checking this out, even if it does not win the vote. Please go ahead and check this out because this set the groundwork for a lot of anime and horror anime to come too.
And I've heard a lot about Elfen Lied. I mean, it's talked about amongst the anime circles. It's almost cemented itself as a classic at this point. Elfen Lied.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Jim Jam
definitely.
says, dude, the piano set the mood better than any instrument. 100%. 100%.
Bruh, I'm telling you, the violin is. But when you
The
pair the two,
violins and
when you get this
pianos
sad E
together,
minor via violin piano, oh god, yes.
dude, anything in minor keys get me going. I
Yeah.
love that shit. I think that's the elder emo in me.
Yeah, most
Minor keys
definitely.
always hit. So now we have the final trailer for you guys. This is actually a horror that I have not seen yet, but it has been recommended to me on numerous occasions. It starts off very light-hearted, cute, and fun, and then you kind of get similar to what Blood Sea had, is a weird atmosphere, and then shit starts to happen that you're questioning everything, and there's a big reveal at the end. But I don't know what that reveal is. I've only seen like little screenshots of like blood-covered faces, so we'll see how it plays out. But the name of this one is Higurashi When They Cry. And here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go. Kadokawa.
Kirokawa.
Different animation. Different animation company. Another secluded village. So this is now the later 2000s. So you have a little bit more of an update to the animation itself
Yeah,
too.
digital with painted backgrounds, but now digital animated characters. But they've still mimicked the frame rate of the drawn anime, as you can
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
It's like that. It's like that future diary in between.
Yeah, exactly.
It starts off so innocent. Oh my god.
Ooh, that looked like a Nikon FM.
It's very much
Yeah, I was
so.
gonna say it didn't feel very spooky. It felt like
So
maybe
it's
mysterious, but it's probably because I'm not watching it.
Yeah, so basically, it takes the human experience as a child's human experience, and how the world can get so dark so quick, and realize that life is not lollipops and fresh meadows all the time. Life is full of darkness, and people are naturally not all good. They have evil in them, and this is what this anime reveals. It's another anime that gets to the point where all these cutesy little
Sounds
characters
like it's gonna break
end
my
up
heart.
getting dark. And
Yeah.
yes, it's gonna break your heart. It's just like Gon in Hunter x Hunter, in the Chimera Ant arc, where he realizes people are not good, and he hits his point in that anime. But this anime definitely pulls at your heartstrings. It makes these children realize what true darkness is, and it makes them get dark too. And then there's murder, killing, death, like traps. It's crazy. I hope you guys do enjoy these options. We'll be putting them all up in our Anime Crunch sections in the Discords if you guys want to check them off and check them out. Jim Jensen's completely off topic, but I know you appreciate it. My wife bought me this giant ass All Might Funko Pop thing, and it's huge. Hell yeah, dude! I actually have that one. It's gigantic. It's so big.
That's dude, you guys got to make trips out here. There's like entire shops, like Funko Pop shops, like
Yeah.
entire. I can't wait to take you to Little Tokyo Fallen. There's like four businesses in this underground section, and they're all owned by the same place, but one of them cards, one of them video games, one of them pop figures, one of them is like all manga, and it's just like
Hell
it's
yeah.
so cool. You're gonna love it,
I would
dude.
love that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, yeah. And, just so you guys know, I will be going out to California for TwitchCon, so I will be meeting up with the homies. That's for sure. Maybe we'll do a little anime walkthrough of Little
Oh,
Tokyo and all that
definitely we'll
jazz
do a
too.
live stream. We'll produce all kinds of content when you're here, bro. Come
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
So I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you guys so much for taking part in this entire Anime Crunch show. We're gonna be putting these options up in both of our Discords, so you guys can go ahead and vote on which one you guys want us to dive deep into next. Mr. Nova, I appreciate you. You're a beautiful man with a great brain on your shoulder and a head on your shoulders, and I hope you have a fantastic, fantastic rest of your day. I think you're gonna go compete, right?
Yeah, we're going into a racing competition, which I'm usually a
Well,
drifter, as
hell
you know.
yeah.
So I'm going to be racing today, testing my skills. But thank you, Fallen, for being here and going strong with me in Anime Crunch. I think we're coming up on our year anniversary here very soon.
Yeah,
It's
we
just been
are.
incredible how many episodes and how many series we've gone through and reviewed. I really can't wait for the majority of everyone to stumble upon this, and they're going to find our channel and be like, this gem, look at all this content, all these great
Yeah.
reviews. It's always a pleasure being here with you and chat and the viewers and hanging out and discussing things that I love. Full on otaku life. I fucking love it. I'm just so happy to be a part of Anime Crunch and to be homies with you, Fallen. So thank you so much, brother. This has all
Thank
been a
you, man.
great ride, man.
And everybody in chat, in both Nova's chat and my chat, we appreciate you to the nth degree. And for all of you being here, you guys are all incredible human beings, and hope you guys stay safe out there.
Yep.
Take it easy, be safe, and I'll see you next time.
Later, guys.
Adios.
Peace. Doo-doo-doo.
ドゥッドゥドゥ
何、おは匠できるぞ